Welcome back to Historically Gaming. I'm the Fit Historian, and today we're diving into the fascinating history of one of the most influential companies in the gaming industry, Activision Blizzard. From its humble beginnings to becoming a gaming giant, we'll explore the key moments that shaped its journey. While we do that, we're going to build a fall-inspired storage build for one of the final sections of my massive outdoor storage in the peaceful meadow in Disney Dreamlight Valley. Make sure you stay until the end to see the entire build. Alright, now go ahead and grab your controllers and a cup of coffee and let's get started. Around 1979, Atari released a memo to their game developers that detailed the sales figures of the previous year's most popular VCS 2600 games. The memo was supposed to demonstrate which games were selling the best and encourage more of that style to be made. Instead, though, the memo fueled anger from previous issues with Atari not paying bonuses due to the developers. The list basically showed that Atari made approximately $60 million off of 4 main developers in charge of the top games. These developers were only making $30,000 per year. The developers in question are David Crane, Larry Kaplan, Alan Miller, and Bob Whitehead. From here on, I'm going to call them the Atari 4, just for brevity. The Atari 4 went to Ray Kasser, Atari's president, to present a revised employment contract based on deals similar to the ones record companies would do with their artists. The point of going to Kasser was to show that they are responsible for the top games, and because games are creative products, they have demonstrated that they deserve a raise based on their advanced creativity skills. The 4 met with a response similar to stating that the game developers were no better than someone working on the assembly line because without that person, there would be no sales either. The Atari 4 quit a few days later, and with $750,000 of venture capital and help from Jim Levy, a music executive, Activision was founded in 1979. The Atari developers, frustrated with the lack of recognition for their work, set out to create a company where developers were credited for their work, a novel concept at the time. This was a groundbreaking move, as it was the first independent video game developer and distributor. Activision started with creating games for the Atari VCS 2600. Until this point, games were created and published for home consoles by the console manufacturer. Atari just assumed nobody else would try to make games for the 2600, so there were no protective measures put in place to prevent anyone from creating their own. When Activision went public with their idea, Atari actually tried to sue them. The court ended up ruling that Atari had no rights to stop others from developing games for the 2600. Activision quickly found success with games like Pitfall and River Raid, which became household names. What was unique about their games was the packaging. The brightly covered boxes boldly stated who created the game to help them stand out. This move addressed one of the biggest qualms the Atari 4 had at Atari, which was no public acknowledgement. Video game companies like Atari didn't make a habit out of promoting their developers to the public because they were afraid that programmers could be quote-unquote stolen by other companies, or the programmers would become too full of themselves. Activision was growing so fast that they replaced Atari as the fastest growing company in the future of the US at the time. By publishing creators' names, these once hidden figures were getting the recognition they deserved. Activision began receiving fan mail for their developers, and they were becoming almost celebrities in certain circles. While Activision was thriving, other third-party companies began popping up, flooding the console market with a surplus of games with no quality control. To put it in perspective, 30 companies popped up within a 6-month period. This ultimately led to the 1983 video game crash, almost threatening the end of the industry. Obviously, the video game crash posed significant challenges for Activision and other companies. Despite the downturn, Activision persevered by diversifying into computer games and software, which helped stabilize the company during turbulent times. In 1991, Bobby Kotick took over as CEO, steering Activision back to profitability. Also in 1991, with money from their grandmothers, Alan Adam, Frank Pierce, and Mike Murhane, founded Silicon and Synapse. 3 years later, the company was renamed to Blizzard Entertainment. In 1994, Blizzard released their first breakthrough strategy game, Warcraft: Orcs and Humans. In 1996, Blizzard took a bet on a new-found internet and began the development of Battle.net, which was a free online gaming service that was incorporated directly into games that customers were already playing. This service added social networking, digital distribution, and digital rights management to online gaming. In 2003, Activision released the insanely popular Call of Duty, which is often touted as the biggest game series of all time. It was so popular it remained as the #1 selling console game franchise for 11 years in a row. Several years later, in 2008, Activision and Blizzard merged and became Activision Blizzard. This merger brought together both companies' biggest franchises like Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk, Call of Duty, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, World of Warcraft, and so many more. Later in 2016, Activision Blizzard acquired King, the company responsible for the popular mobile game Candy Crush. With blockbuster franchises like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Overwatch, Activision Blizzard became a leader in the gaming world. However, the company faced controversies including criticism over microtransactions and workplace culture issues. These challenges highlighted the complexities of managing a large gaming empire. In 2019, an investigation by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, or DFEH, was launched due to reports of a toxic work environment at Activision Blizzard. During the 2-year investigation that concluded in July 2021, it was found that female employees allegedly worked in a quote-unquote frat boy workplace culture. The DFEH brought a lawsuit against the company claiming alleged sexual harassment and binge drinking were common in the company, and that female employees were allegedly denied promotions and unfairly compensated for their work when compared to their fellow male employees. Another suit was brought against Activision Blizzard by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which the company did not dispute like they did the previous DFEH suit. The company quickly settled for $18 million. Fast forward to November 2021, when a Wall Street Journal article was published that exposed that longtime CEO Bobby Kotick allegedly knew about the abuse and harassment towards female employees and even went as far to minimize the severity of the issues to board members. Employees of the company were outraged to say the least and staged a company-wide walkout. Due to the scandal, the company's stock began to fall hard. Recently, Activision Blizzard has been in the news for its acquisition by Microsoft, a move that could reshape the gaming landscape. Microsoft, at the time of the aforementioned scandal, reached out to begin talks of acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The deal went public around January 2022, noting that Microsoft was going to pay $68.7 million. The sale was final as of October 13, 2023, which was the same day that Bobby Kotick announced his resignation. He left the company officially at the end of 2023. The company continues to innovate with new releases and expansions, but it also faces ongoing scrutiny over workplace practices. As we look to the future, Activision Blizzard's ability to adapt and address these challenges will be crucial. Activision Blizzard's journey is a testament to the dynamic nature of the gaming industry, from pioneering independent game development to navigating modern controversies. Its history is as complex as the games it creates. Thank you so much for joining me on this historical journey. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming history content. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic, so feel free to drop them in the comments. Stay tuned because we have a walkthrough coming of this speed build. Until next time, keep gaming and stay curious. Bye!